Okay, so we had a couple of pieces of technical difficulty, but the Lord will make us go through. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Gary. Well, y'all know who I am, right? Darius Williams. I go by Darius Cooks. I'm a little bit more goofy online than in real life. So you might see a different side of me today than what you normally are used to seeing. I am, I guess, what am I? Entrepreneur, money maker, and from my understanding, you guys are here to learn how to make money or enhance your business and try to get some tips and things like that. So I use social media in a number of different ways. Some of you guys may come across some of the content that I've done. A lot of times I'm pretty goofy on social media, but it is not without strategy that I am on social media, right? And I generate a lot of money online. So what I did do is I wanted to pull up my Shopify store because I have several streams of income, right? And so since we're talking about live streaming, I'm talking about 5-figure live streams, I wanted to give it to you for real, that's what y'all pay for, right? So this is my actual Shopify store in my actual platform. I don't know if you guys can see it. That's to bring that in a little bit. Hold on, that ain't my store. No, that is, sorry, that's not my page. I'm getting me, all right? Hold on, let me see. All right, so for me, I'm into food, right? I'm a food dude, and most of what we do, like our Super Bowl for food, happens around the holidays. So I put together some campaigns, some sales funnels, and what I'm getting ready to teach you in a second on 5-figure, this whole thing about 5-figure live streams, I actually want to show you the goods and show you the receipts first, so you can actually see that the strategy I'm ready to talk about actually works, right? So if I pull up my numbers from January or November 1st through November 30th, right? You can actually see through online sales. So this is through just digital products and what I generate from an online standpoint. I put in $201,774.82 in the month of November alone, all right? If I were to look at what that looked like from January, y'all wanna see it? Yeah. Of course. Of course you do, right? So if I would go back from January and pull it up to current, which is December the 7th, today, you can actually see what I generate in my business. So this is not, I don't make this up. I mean, if you follow me, I'm pretty goofy. Anybody follow me on Periscope? Periscope, okay. So you know on Periscope, I cuts up, I act a fool. I do that as well when I cook live, but it is not without strategy that I do that, right? To further bring this on home to you, if I were to pull up, these are my payouts, right? So you look at my recent payouts, this is what goes to my actual bank account from Shopify, right? If you look at the payout dates on the left, December 6th, 5th, 4th, 3, 2, 1, look at the totals all the way on the right-hand side of the screen and just follow those numbers down. 3,000, 3,000, 7,200, 29,000, 83, 21, 39, 12, 10, 17, 26. Look at that, 59,000 on November 13th. All right, so I'm not making any of this stuff up. I like to show this to validate the point that you can generate a lot of money with the right strategy from doing live streaming, all right? Y'all wanna know how I did it?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get into it. I got your pens and papers ready? So, all right, so I call this, how much time I got? I guess I go all day. All right, so I call this 5-figure live stream. So grow your brand by broadcasting like a professional. So sort of what we'll go through is what I like to call your starting point. After your starting point, we'll talk about what I like to call predeterminations. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of sales funnels, which is what I apply as the template on top of why I do what I do. We'll talk about the ones that I use, what the ultimate goal is, common mistakes, content distribution, and the tools I use. I don't know if we'll get to all this, but we'll do the best that we can, okay? Let's go. All right, so defining your starting point. I think it is super crucial that before you even start to hit the go live button. And you could even, if you wanted to align the go live with content distribution, before you hit post, before you hit, let me share this, before you do anything, what is the starting point of why you are doing what you're doing, right? Because if you define the starting point from the beginning, everything else you do throughout the process of distributing the content or going live, you will align with that starting point. So are you doing it to give information, right? Are you here just to say, hey, I'm an expert, here's some information for you to have, I bake cakes, or whatever the case might be, right? Are you doing this to actually sell a product? So I have an actual toothbrush, or I have a heel sock for your feet, or I have a new cream for your elbow. Like, what's the reason I'm about to distribute this content? Am I doing it just to enhance my brand, right? Just to sort of get out there and just say, hey, I'm a boss at what I do, here's some information about it. Am I doing it to boost awareness about anything that's going on? Am I doing it to educate an audience, or a specific call to action? Now, call to actions are pretty important because I typically don't live stream unless there is a call to action. Call to actions can be very, very deceiving, and we hear the word manipulation sometimes as a bad thing, but in the case I'm going to use it, it's going to be a very, very good thing. You all have gone to the spa before, right? Have you gone to a nail salon? Have you gone to a fancy hotel? When you walk in the front door of that spa, or you walk in the front door of that fancy hotel, the first thing that hits you is the scent, right? They have a smell, they have a fragrance that they are wafting throughout the air. That's not by happenstance, right? That is an intentional brand messaging that they use to kind of convey your senses and manipulate you into how they want you to feel. So when it comes to call to action, I start the manipulation process from the very beginning, right? And if you follow me on my lives, a strategy you might see me do is, oh, by the way, I have this new hardback cookbook and it's amazing. Who has a copy of the cookbook? Oh my gosh, who doesn't? Let me just see who doesn't have a copy. Oh, if you don't have a copy, hit 1. Oh my gosh, all these ones don't have a copy of the cookbook. Well, let me put a code together real fast and you can grab it for 40% off, right? Immediate sales, just like that, right? Just that little small call to action. So initially, before you even start to share, understand why you may want to even go live, right? Or even start creating content, distributing content. What is the reason you're doing it? And understand it from the beginning so you're not confused as to why. I can't tell you number of people that I coach who are like, well, I'm just posting just to post, or I'm just sharing just to share. I don't know why. And I'm like, well, what are you doing it for? Like, what is the purpose? Because you want to always follow that purpose all the way through, all right? So know what your starting point is going to be. And then I want you to predetermine how the audience is supposed to feel, right? That means you have to think this thing out a little bit. You just can't, say, all right, cool, we're gonna go live, right? That ain't how it works. So you have to think about it before you do it, and then kind of plan the sequence of events out so that you ensure you want people to feel encouraged. You want people to feel sad. Do you want people to feel sad and then bring them back up? Do you want people to feel angry? What is the reason you're doing this, and how do you want people to feel? So here's the thing. How I normally look at how I want the audience to engage is I do a slow, steady beginning, okay? When I go live, I don't have anything ready to cook. If you ever watch any of my live videos, right? And you would think that if I'm gonna go live and cook, everything has to be poised and professional and pre-chopped. I don't do none of that, okay? Because that sort of humanizes the brand. Now, you can't make it tacky. There's a fine line between humanizing the brand and looking a fool, okay? So you gotta be careful, but the slow, steady beginning is important. Why is that important for live stream? Because it gives the live stream enough time to start building up people to watch, right? If I just went on, I hit the go live, and in 2 seconds, I start blasting out content, people are gonna miss it, right? And the larger the audience gets, you get dumb questions like, well, what are we talking about? Or go back, or start over. So you might see me slowly start. I might go start making a drink. I might go gather this, but I'm doing that to intentionally give it a little bit of time, right? Then there's a continual build. Nothing has to be perfect about when you go live, right? So a lot of times I think what happens is we get in our own way about how we want to distribute content because you're thinking, my hair's got to be perfect, my nails got to be perfect. I mean, I know how women think, right? It's got to be this, it's got to be that. And the truth is, I'm not saying get on there like I be with, eye boogers in your eyes and all that. But I don't care. But what I am, no. What I am saying is that there's a certain part of the realness that people can associate with, right? And in my business, we call it anchoring. So you're doing something that's already rooted in value in people's hearts and minds. And people don't wake up perfect. They don't wake up, everything's amazing. Some of the best lives I've ever done are when things go wrong. I mean, I had literally the other day, I was drinking something with vodka, or whatever it was, and I got a little tipsy, and I was making some whipped cream, and the whipped cream spilled over, and I was like, damn, what am I supposed to do in that moment? Well, what would you do? I mean, it was a clean counter. It was good whipped cream. The whipped cream is $5.49. That's a lot of money. So I just scooped it up and put it back. I mean, it happens. But in that moment of imperfection, what was great about that is it totally validated me as a real person, as a real human. And people who normally associate the brand with perfection, because you see the photos or the produced videos, this just gives a different element and makes it that much more real. All right. Then there's normally a strong climax in my, for what I like to do is real easy, because at the end of the day, it's all about tasting whatever I've been cooking. And that's what everybody want to see, right? And I don't really care how bad it tastes, you'll never know. Okay. So if you never watch the lives, you'll never know how bad it is, because I'm gonna say, oh my God, it's amazing. The difference is, man, you can't see it anyway. You know what I mean? All right. And then here is the point. There's always a call to action at some point. All right. And you have to get in the habit of doing call to actions and being strategic about it in a number of different ways. One of the best call to actions you could ever do is in the middle of a live, ask a question, right? Do you like collard greens or turnip greens? Do you prefer sugar on your grits or salt on your grits, right? Not that you even care about the answer, but what happens is that with the algorithm, the way EdgeRank works is that the more comments you get, the more engagement you get, the more your stuff is seen on Explore, the more your stuff is seen by your followers, right? Because you always know that they're hiding, your good content from a lot of people that could actually see it. But when you start to have people engage, that jags the algorithms a little bit, and then people can see your stuff. So I intentionally ask questions. Where should I go for dining with Darius Cooks? The tickets are already sold out, so what difference does it make, right? What's important about it is you want to start to see those comments. So that's important, right? You also might want to do a call to action to get people to join your mailing list, your email list, right? So you might say, hey, if you want whatever I'm doing, or you want to go further, you want to intentionally build the relationship further, then go to whatever.com/whatever, and then you can join the email list. What's great about joining the email list is a couple different things. This is how you can make sleep coin just from the email list, okay? If you set up your email list on like a ConvertKit or like a MailChimp, I know ConvertKit can do it, that's what I use. You can do an automatic on the email, and when they sign up, you shoot them an email with a discount code to your online store, right? Everybody loves a discount code. Attach a expiration time or date to it. It prompts them to move a little bit more swift. If you get 400 people to sign up for an email list, 50 of those people are about to buy something from the store. You see what I'm saying? So you wake up to money in the bank, all right? So call to actions for email lists, call to actions for Facebook groups are crucial. Facebook groups are one of the only places where the algorithms are not jammed, right? So if you have a Facebook group, what happens is that you post content in the Facebook group, and what's great about Facebook groups too is that the Facebook group is specific to whatever you're doing. So if you're multifaceted, right? So like if you fix credit and you cook keto food and you cook vegan food, no longer do you do split testing in your email. You've now got splits already in your particular audiences. So I've got a group that I know all they want is keto content. I got a group, all they want is vegan content. So if I have a Facebook group with nothing but people in there who are absolutely keto, 100,000 people, when I release a keto cookbook, do I need to work that hard, or is the audience already there? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I mean, and if the book is $32 and I've got 100,000 people and I just convert a small percentage of those people, even if I do 10,000, that's 320,000. So it makes sense to think about it in terms of what those numbers are. Okay, so call to actions are always super important. So I'm always saying, join the email list. And what's funny about when I do it is, 15 minutes in, when I'm starting to feel a liquor a little bit, I forget the name of the group and, all that stuff. It looks like he is really torn apart. But I do it. It's a comical piece to it that people like to see. All right. So call to actions are always important. So again, predetermining how you want people to feel. What is the flow you want to have? Because you have to flow that throughout your beginning, your build, your climax, and your call to action. Right. If you want people to walk away and like, we got to do something like right now, how are you implementing that throughout each part of whatever it is you're doing, in this case, live stream, to get to the ultimate effect? All right, make sense?
Yes.
All right, so how do you want to engage? Typically, engagement happens in a funnel, all right? And I know funnel is one of those things that's like, I don't know, Darius, this is very, very confusing. I'm just not really sure what the funnel is all about. It's kind of, like what's going on. So there's so many different types of funnels out there, right? So you got sales letter funnel, squeeze page, membership, survey, video sales, reverse. There's a bunch. The ones that I like the most are lead magnet funnels, hero funnels, homepage funnels, and webinar funnels. Those are the ones that I primarily like to use, and then I'll tell you why in a moment. All right, so when it comes to a funnel, here's a little bit of technical information, just because I want to give you the technical piece. And if you're saying, Darius, I don't know what a funnel is, you got me confused. I'm gonna break it down for you in a way that you'll understand. But I see y'all taking notes, so I'll give you a second to write this out. All right, so what you want to do is you want to associate, y'all still writing, y'all done? Go ahead, take your time. You got time. Now this is only if you want to make 5 figures on your live stream. If you want a $59,000 direct deposit. That's only one. That's only one. That's only my one line. That don't include restaurants, credit repair. That's just cooking.
See where you gotta have good friends.
Exactly. All right, so I want you to associate the different funnel stages with a particular pipeline that we'll talk about. And I know it's hard to imagine, as goofy as I am on social media, that I'm applying all these steps to what I'm doing. I know it's very difficult to imagine, but the God's honest truth is that that's exactly what I'm doing. Sorry, I don't know how to work no PC. Okay. All right, step one is the awareness stage, right? So I want you to think about the funnel stage as a person who might become a potential client, a potential customer, a potential follower, somebody who you are trying to eventually make money from, right? And I want you to associate that with the pipeline stage. So the first step is an awareness step where somebody might become aware of what it is you're doing and how you're doing it, right? So I just talked to you earlier about what happens when people are engaged and somehow somebody comes across your stuff on an explore page, or somebody's auntie shared it to some other page in a group that you're a part of, and you ended up finding whatever piece of content you found. That's more what awareness is, right? Then there's this whole discovery part where you go, I am trying to lose a couple of pounds. Maybe keto is the way to go, Or maybe, I've seen they was talking about vegan on CNN, and but it was a listeria outbreak in the lettuce. So maybe let me figure some stuff out. And you start Googling and looking, and you're a part of the discovery process, okay? So the difference I like to outline between awareness and discovery is much like traffic and targeted traffic, right? Let me give you another example. Traffic is more like, I gotta go to the bank, right? So I'm driving to the bank and I'm like, oh, a Shipley's donut over there by the bank. Okay, good. In the recesses of my mind, I got it. I'm going to the bank to make my transaction. That's traffic. Targeted traffic is, I need something sweet. And Danielle told me that they take them donuts and put them things in the microwave and heat them things up. And once I had like that, I'm gonna never have it another way again. Where is that at? It's over by the bank. So that's the difference between traffic and targeted traffic, the difference between awareness and discovery. Conversely speaking, your steps in terms of pipelining are going to be different, because under discovery, you can do things like qualifying your leads, making your initial meeting, and then defining your prospect needs. Or if you're much like me, I'm just funneling people and putting them in different silos as they come across. So I'm opening up the arms under step one and saying, come on, come on. If you like food, I'm here for you. Come on, come see me, right? Under step two is where I'm saying, all right, let me now put you in different categories. Let me figure out a way to assimilate you into a situation where you feel comfortable. And comfortable is subjective, right? Because my terms, and when I think about comfortability, I want you to be able to come into my brand, sit down, take your shoes off, and go into my refrigerator, right? And for those of you who follow me on Periscope, that's the journey that we're on, right? So it feels very, very comfortable. Step three is more like an evaluation. Notice the step five, or stage five does not say make a sale, right? It does not say I'm going to sell you anything, because I don't believe in selling. Nobody wants to be sold to at all. All I simply ever do is make an offer. Create a product and make an offer. You either will or you won't. But if you tuned into me at any given point, you will. Who got a cookbook in here? You will.
But Derek, can you talk about too real quick that it is somewhat of a numbers game. Everybody ain't gonna always buy everything all the time. But Darius, his consistency is methodical.
Yeah.
You know, and we talked about yesterday how many people go live, post on social media every day. 2 people raised their hand in the room. It was the 2 people that earned the most money in the room. It's not a game. So he's up every day doing this. Every day he's doing something that's gonna generate revenue. So, I mean, everybody's potential is the same. And he's been doing it a long time. He didn't just start yesterday. So while you take all these notes, make sure you write down, I need to get my ass up in the morning and do the same shit he's doing if I want to see the same results. Bottom line, the amount of money you have in your bank account is a result of your day-to-day decisions. Do you decide to get in front of people and make an offer? Because even the worst offer will eventually sell to some damn bad.
Yeah, so, you know, I don't sell, I just simply make an offer, right? I just say, hey, you know, we're gonna be cooking all keto from this cookbook in February, just to FYI. And, you know, hey, you wanna join in with us? You know, we have our keto Bible, you can turn the page, this, that, the third, and we go, this is what we're doing, all right? So then you go into intent, which could be negotiation, the final stage, which is one of those things where people can be on the fence about what they want to do with you. If they want to purchase this or purchase that, maybe you have a high-level product that costs $1,000. Maybe you have a mid-level product that's $200. Maybe you have an introductory that's $17. They're trying to decide. I could go into a bunch of different ways you could funnel this on a sales page or on a sales funnel process, but it's just saying, hey, the cookbook that I have, okay, it costs $32.99 retail. The book it don't cost me $32.99 to make a book. I think it costs like $3.40 to make a book, right? But if I said, all right, maybe you don't want to save 20% on the book, maybe you might want to save 50% on the book. How many people will go? Who's on my email list? Anybody get my email list? So you got all them emails I've been sending y'all all throughout the month of November, where I was like, okay, well, guess what? Now this book here's the code and this, that's all intentional, because if you're on the fence about purchasing a book, I'm gonna sweeten the deal for you, right? Because maybe at stage 5, you were like, I'm in. Stage 6 might need a little bit more, you know, coercing. I got you, no big deal. Still, I'm not losing a dime, okay? Step 5, obviously, or stage 5 is, you know, purchasing, and then step 6 is, you know, loyalty, which is why I think is super important, because under loyalty is where you can under promise and over deliver. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I go live while I'm printing out shipping labels. That humanizes the brand. I was live for 3 hours the other day, just printing labels so people would actually see the process. Again, all I'm doing is showing you I'm a hardworking entrepreneur. Your book is on its way. I'm packing it myself, and it makes people value what they're getting. So as long as you do it in some capacity, you ain't gotta do it like me, but it's kind of important to do it. All right. Okay. If you're still a little confused about how this whole situation works, we've all been to McDonald's before. Yes.
Yes.
May not go now. Okay. They put ostrich in the burgers or something. I don't know. But them fries still hitting. Okay. So. And them chocolate chip burgers. So here's what happens. Here's what happens when you go to McDonald's, right? Which I think this is a perfect example of everything I've just said. When you walk into McDonald's, you go, I'm hungry, I want a burger, right? So you go and say, okay, I'm gonna get a burger. Go to the front counter and you say, I'm gonna get cheeseburger. Then they come back to you and say, okay, did you want to add fries and a drink with that for another $2? And you go, you know what? I'm gonna need something to wash this down. And them fries, them the ones I just took out over there? Yeah, let me go and get that for $2. That's perfect. Okay, thank you so much, sir. Hey, by the way, would you like to supersize this? We'll make it a large for just 40 cents more. And you go, well, shit. Now that I'm here, I said, you know what? I am alone. I ain't ate since this morning. Let me go and get that. Oh, and by the way, you can get 3 chocolate chip cookies for $99. Well, shit, sign me up. Why not? So I just made $4 more off of you than you originally intended to spend just by asking you a question. And you can just say yes, or you can say no, right? So that is all a sales funnel is. It's just making an offer in a specific way and allowing people to say yes or say no to the offer. If they say no, then you offer additional. If they say no from there, they're not interested. You move on to the next situation. But 9 times out of 10, if the pot is sweetened in the right way, because there's already brand loyalty, there's already brand affinity at this point. People buy because of the brand, not because of the product, just FYI, right? McDonald's sells the most burgers in the world and has never won one taste test for hamburgers.
And won't.
Never won one taste test. So you can have an inferior product and still be amazingly successful. That's not permission to have inferior products, but that's just something that you can actually do, and you can see it from here. All right. So to even break this out a little further, because sometimes we still need a little more, help. I've taken the funnel and the pipeline stages and I've associated them with what McDonald's could potentially do, right? So under the awareness stage is marketing and media. You may have seen a commercial, you may have heard about it, driving down the street, whatever the case may be, right? Stage 2 is where they're in the intersection of their brand and current trends, right? So you might see McDonald's with a Super Bowl commercial, or you might see McDonald's with the playoffs or whatever the case may be. A lot of times these commercials are getting real fancy with the family stuff and the mixed family, what do you call it? Blended families and all that. So they're really starting to like tug on your heart, places that current trends are. Stage 3 is where you make the offer, or you give value in this case, and value is subjective, right? Because value is determined by how somebody might feel about a certain product. What somebody might feel about my cookbook who's been following me for a while might be of high value. Somebody who just came onto the brand 2 weeks ago may not give, 2 shits, okay? Step 4 is under your intent, so you can upsell or you can downsell, either one. You gotta work the numbers to see what makes sense. Obviously, if I'm offering you 40% and then 50% on top of that, it's simply because I'm trying to also gain your loyalty on that 50%, right? So the 40% people already got you. You know what I'm saying? The full price people already got you. You know what I'm saying? 40% people, I really got you. 50, they're like on the line. Like, I don't know. I'm across. I got you. That way, by the time the next product comes out, it's a no-brainer. That 50%er is now my 40%. And then by the time the next product comes out, I love him. I love him from the beginning. No, he lying, okay? And then your stage 5 is obviously going to deliver really, really strong, right? So I don't know if you can see this, but it says there's a fabulous front end with the burger. There's an unbeatable upsell. There's the deadly downsell, because it doesn't cost anything to give you a Coke. You know what I mean? Like when you think about the amount of money it takes for that is, it's nothing. And then obviously all that equals profits. Okay, make sense? Hopefully.
Yes.
We'll get to questions in a minute. Okay. All right. So under my lead magnet funnel, for me, if you break it down to how I like it, you get a freemium in exchange for contact information, right? So my lead magnet is I'm offering you something for free. So if I'm on a live stream and I say, hey, by the way, if you want this recipe, now I'm gonna cook collard greens on live stream at least 25 times. At least. And every time I do it, it's like the first time ever. Okay. The recipe is all over the internet, but people want to feel that sense of value. So I'll say, if you want the recipe, go to dariuscooks.tv/send recipes, put your information in, and I'll send you the recipe. All right. It might be just a link to the blog that's been up for the last 3 years. Doesn't really matter. It's about the value that people want to feel, right? So the freemium is going to be a recipe. My email is going to be to follow up as promised. What does that do? That warms the selling environment. That's all it is, right? Now, I may not be selling you anything right now. And it's important not to always be trying to sell, right? Or I may not be trying to make an offer right now. But what I am doing is I'm softening. I'm fluffing the pillows, okay? I'm putting the potpourri underneath the mattress, okay? I'm making it real nice so that when there is eventually an offer, you go, I'm familiar enough and I'm gonna go for it. Conversely speaking, think about it this way. When was the last time you saw something for the very first time online, pulled your credit card out and said, I'm buying? Typically never happens, especially if you work real hard for your money, okay? So if it doesn't happen typically with you, you can't expect it to happen with other people. So this is super important to do this over and over again, which is why I blog and YouTube like crazy, because I want people to get real comfortable with what I got going on. All right, what does that do in terms of community? I move you into a different level of engagement, because once I send you a recipe, I can say, okay, you sound like you're very, very interested in what I've got going on. Why don't you come on over to this Facebook group and we can engage further? And people are like, yes, count me in. All right. And then obviously when I get to the offer part, I can just make an offer and I got you in. Okay. The hero funnel is a little different. It's where you are always the focus. All right. Periscope. All right. It's where your story, your triumph, what you've done, how you've overcome, that's always now the focus of what it is you have going on. How you went from nothing and opened up 3 restaurants, how you self-published your book, whatever the case may be. The freemium in this case is going to be emotional engagement, because people love to feel attacked from an emotional standpoint. As a matter of fact, everything you do should really be about emotional engagement. But that's the freemium there. You can always say on the email piece that you just want to, follow up as you promised. So if I'm telling you a story and I say, hey, you want to hear more about how I was able to, do this, or you want to talk more about this, or you want to be a part of the community, just, I'll email you. And people go, what's the harm in that? Okay, then they come on over. Okay, again, what does it do? Warms your selling environment, moves you to a different level of, a deeper level of engagement, and then makes the offer easy. Okay, homepage funnel, subtle ways to opt in, right? If you go to dariuscooks.tv, don't do it now, but if you do, I got a couple different ways, and you'll see on the right-hand side of the screen, it says if you want more recipes, we'll send them to you, put your information in here. Hopefully, I teach my community that if you guys are doing anything on social media, you have a website, and your website has content, not about us, not who am I, but you're constantly giving out some sort of information in some sort of blog-ish type format that's constantly being updated, because that's why people are going to be engaged. Why would I go to CNN.com if they updated it 6 months ago and that was it? I probably wouldn't go, okay? So with that being said, maybe I'm talking about, if I'm into fashion, I'm talking about the top 5 looks of this season and how to get it for $75 or less. I don't know, I made that up, right? That's a hot situation that you might want to go live about, create content around, right? That sounds good. And then perhaps in that post online, before you even go any further, maybe there's a pop-up that says, hey, you want these links in your email? Boom, put it here, we'll email you, right? Or maybe at the bottom, before you leave a comment, there's another little situation where you say, hey, if you want the information. It's easy for you to pre-think about this stuff because you just say, hey, how do I want people to engage? You create this stuff in your email system. I use ConvertKit. So when they log onto a particular form and put the email address in, I don't have to do anything. I preset the automation so that the email automatically goes out. I've done all that beforehand. I mean, you could be lazy and just like collect the information and email them. Either way, it doesn't really matter. But there's easier ways to do it. So the freemium here is going to be obviously targeted results because people are looking for whatever it is you're giving them. They want to know these 5 ways for $75. Where you get that jacket from? That's cute. I want that. Okay. Or like, I post a jogging suit, a track suit. Where do you get that from? I'm gonna start a fashion blog. Okay. Email, follow up as promised. Okay, you get it. Same song. Selling environment, people level of engagement, sales. Okay. Oh. Isn't that something? Hold on, we stuck.
Well,
Just say no.
I told you this is Apple. I don't know how to do this. I mean, this is not Apple. It's saying reload. Your connection is not private. Oh, Jesus.
Go to advanced and scroll down and say go anyway.
Scroll down and say go anyway.
Oh, I didn't give you that.
Okay, let's pause and see if anybody has any questions while I switch out to the Apple computer.
I think I can watch porn.
Good thing.
Oh, they got
The
off.
internet.
Internet got off. Isn't that something?
so how much of this, I know for my clients, all of this should sound like literally second nature to you. Like that's one of the reasons that we do platform diversity because you want to be found on as many places as you can. And like to Darius's point, every time you update a blog on your website, that helps your SEO also because that lets Google know this ain't a stale website. So if you think you're gonna set your website up and not update your website for a year, that doesn't make sense. What questions do you guys have for Darius? He's not gonna be here all day. Answer, baby, go ahead.
If you
Stand up and tell us what your name is, baby. What's your question?
Hi, I'm Talisha. My question is,
I'm gonna put it on my hotspot so that way it don't pop.
being able to find the time to do all this content, is there a thing that can make sure I'm posting to Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, all that?
So yeah. So yes and no, right? So you talk about being able to find the time. Do you want to find the money or no? Right? So if you want the money, you'll find the time. And it's the same energy we do everything else. If your girls were saying, we want to Jamaica, and you were like, I don't know, I'm busy, I can't find a vacation, you will figure out a way to go to Jamaica if you really want to go. So it's not really about having the time, it's about sort of finding what you want to move around and make it happen, right? And I think one thing that successful entrepreneurs do is they realize that you either have results or you have excuses. There is no in between. There's no in between at that point. So if you want results, you go after them. If not, you don't have the results, everything else is an excuse. That's step one. Step two, to answer your question, is I want you to think about it this way. I don't use I don't use one platform to post to everything because what happens is that Facebook knows you're posting from a third party. Twitter knows you're posting from a third party. And then what ends up happening is that your content doesn't get seen as much.
It's immediately shadow banned.
Yeah. So what you need to do is post from the native app or the native program, wherever you want to be seen. So I log onto the app on Facebook, the app on YouTube, the app on whatever, because that's where I want my content to be seen.
And another thing too, people know you're posting from Hootsuite. See, y'all think that social media is this post and run place where you can just go do your dirt and run off and do whatever else. No, you gotta engage, you gotta manage, you gotta interact with people. Because if you don't, what's gonna make them do business with you versus doing business with somebody who is engaging? But before you got here, we talked about What's making you money and what's minutia? What's ancillary? What doesn't matter? So you need to go through your business and say, of all of these things I do every day, which one are making me money? I tell y'all all the time, treat social media like ATM because I make money every time I show up. So if somebody told you, could you go to the bank 2, 3, 4 times a day, would you go?
Yes.
And there was gonna be money there for you to withdraw, would you go? So you need to be going on social media like that. Not just for the money, but when you engage and when you help people and you help them solve their problems, the law of reciprocity, the law of compensation is that when you help, the more people you help, the more money you make. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, help 1 million people, you make $1 billion. That's it. But if you can't get to those people on social media, how else are you gonna? So what are you gotta ask yourself, what else am I doing that I'm too busy to go out here and find clients? And if you're in business, that answer is nothing. Nothing at all. Sorry, sir.
Tag team this time.
Proceed.
Anybody else? That was a great question, by the way. And I'm just as direct as she is because I don't deal with that. I don't have the time. All my leaders that work for me, I don't believe in any of that.
How easy or difficult it was for you to open up? I heard you say earlier that you had 2 restaurants in Atlanta and 1 in Chicago. I have 2 in Memphis, but how easy was it for you to maneuver into another city?
It depends on how you look at easy. Luckily you gotta have the capital, you gotta have, the right legal team working for you on your behalf, negotiating contracts, doing procurement, looking at leases, things like that, negotiating all that. It has to be the right deal. I've been trying to get in Chicago for 3 years. I've been trying to open up in Chicago. So it's not like I did it in, when I finally found the right place, it moved fast. But what people don't know is it took me 3 years to get into Chicago to make it happen. So, but I had to find the right lawyer to do all that work for me. I had to pay the lawyer. Lawyers they're not cheap. They're pretty expensive. I come from an HR background, so I worked as an HR director for 14 years. So luckily, employee handbooks, hiring, staffing, training, all that stuff, I've been doing for years. So that helped out. But you got to think about all that and then physically not being there, how's that going to work? Being able to travel back and forth, that costs. Those plane rides ain't cheap. You know what I mean? So, you got to think about it. Like, I don't know how I could even tell you if it's easy or not. I mean, it's a challenge, and I have a tendency of making things look a lot easier than what they really are, just because of the nature of what it is that I do. But people don't see the behind the scenes. I mean, Periscope see a little bit behind the scenes, but you just got to get it done, regardless.
But I mean, everything requires everything you do. Time, energy, and capital. If you don't have the money, you're gonna struggle to get it done. You don't have the time, you're gonna struggle to get it done. You don't have the focus, you're gonna struggle to get it done. And everything takes just that. I think a lot of people think you're gonna have an idea and you're gonna run out there. I don't get the fact that you never had a successful business ever. But then you think you're just gonna run out without any help and build this mega $1 million business and not sow the same seed into that business that you're gonna wanna see on the back end. It doesn't work like that. You want a farm, you gotta buy a farm, you gotta buy seed, you gotta buy pesticides, you gotta buy land, you gotta buy tools. The same in the social media world. You gotta have a website, you gotta have teams, you gotta have stuff. And if you don't have it, you're gonna be on the struggle bus from day one and you're gonna probably stay there.
I heard you mention about the convert kit. What is that?
Mostly email marketing.
Email marketing.
Email marketing. ConvertKit has some really cute stuff in it. If we got a little time, I'll log in and show you. It's got some really keen things. But here's the thing about ConvertKit. I don't want you using ConvertKit. I'm talking like you my people. I'm sorry.
You feel free.
Yeah, you should probably not use ConvertKit until you have a complete strategy.
If you ain't got no clients to convert.
Yeah, you should have a complete strategy. So if you've not done anything from a branding perspective, you haven't built a community, what's the use of having ConvertKit? What good would it actually do you if you have nobody to put into a silo, you don't have any cause, that you've done, if you're only focused on selling and not building community, which has nothing to do with a product whatsoever, if you haven't done any of that groundwork, it's like almost when you build a house, if you buy the furniture first, you're screwed.
Or like getting your driver's license and you ain't got every car, you ain't even 16 yet, not even eligible to drive, you just got a car. So you have to put the first things first, because you have to have a strategy. I know people that had lead pages, spending money on lead pages, didn't even have no leads, spending money on all this stuff, and you don't have any customers or clients. With CRMs and don't have no customers to put in them. So that you don't have strategy. You're out there with a website that you done spent $3,000 or $4,000 on it that makes no money at all. Because you didn't know how to monetize it. And now you stuck with a website that's really just a piece of furniture because it's not going to generate any revenue for you because you didn't have a revenue strategy when you started. So you got to start at the beginning. He said it. What's your point? What's the meaning?
Yeah, it's all in here. I know we keep going and you get really excited, but I laid it out. So if you start from the beginning, because I do stuff and in my master classes, they be like, but wait, I said, go back to slide 2.
I tell them all
It's
that all
already
the
there.
time.
Go back to the beginning, it's there.
And if you ever try to shortcut
I
the
got you.
system, it's gonna come out in the back end.
Yeah.
Coach, my stuff didn't work right. Well, let's go back to these first 5 points. Oh, see, you ain't do number 2.
That's it. Go ahead, you had a question?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm Yosha, and my question is, what out of all your social platforms, which one have you found more profitable?
All of them.
Thank you.
All
Please
of them.
tell the people.
All right, you're no longer on Periscope.
No, I'm on Periscope every day.
Ooh.
I'm on Periscope every day.
Right?
Sure is.
I'm on
Every
Periscope
All
every day.
day, yeah.
I might go 1 or 2 days if I'm really busy without being on Periscope. But I'm on Periscope. I mean, Periscope is a deeper level of community. So, I can cuss and act a fool on Periscope and people not walk away super offended. Like I can't do that on my regular lives. But I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. When I go live and you see me cooking, I've got 5 mounts with 5 different cameras live at the same time. 2 on Facebook, 1 YouTube, 1 Periscope, and 1 Instagram.
And right now, we're live on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, multiple Facebook groups, 3 different Facebook business pages, and what else we live on? Oh, and
YouTube.
as soon as LinkedIn approve my application, I'm be live on that. I'm teaching a class for my mentees right now. Most people find certain platforms more profitable, Miosha, because they spend more time over there. And wherever you spend the time is where you're gonna rake the money.
But can I also say this too? Let me just because this is some foundational stuff that I'm not covering today. There's a difference between branding and marketing, right? Marketing has everything to do with a product. Branding is about building a community. And if you spend time, like she's saying, branding yourself on every social media platform, you'll find out that in the end, they will be profitable. Here's the thing. You can't associate or directly connect your branding efforts to your profit or revenue on a piece of paper. So you can't say, well, if I spend 3 hours on Facebook branding myself, it's going to generate $10,000. There's no way to make a direct connection. So everything I do, even when I go live and do all this branding stuff, because I don't have a product, I'm not selling you anything when I go live. I'm just going live to hang out and have a good time. You can't associate what that effort looks like on the front end versus what I'm putting in my pocket on the back end, which is why some people feel like it's not important, or they only want to go live or only want to brand themselves or put things out when there's a product involved. I got away from it a long time ago, and I constantly just give out free content because that eventually warms the selling environment. So from the beginning, I may not have anything to offer you, but at some point I will. And that's also the difference between my brand and many other brands. I don't know if you guys follow Not Carlton Banks on YouTube or Tater, not YouTube, on Instagram or Tater T. These guys have almost 1 million followers and are broke.
Don't sell anything.
1 million followers and they're broke. They have great brands, but have not figured out how to create products that make sense.
And every brand is different because see, every time I go live, I feel like I offer enough value to make an offer. So it is rare that you will see me live and not make an offer. At that same token, there are thousands of women that send me messages and letters that say, Coach, just by listening to your live streams, Tell them, Candace.
Yeah, no, probably 2015 or 16, I got out one live stream, I had about 8 people in this day.
Yeah. So women tell me, I got paid listening to your live streams. I got paid listening to your broadcast. You helped me get over this. You helped me move toward that. So even before they spend money with me, I've helped them change their life. So when you give that level of value, every time you go live, I feel like you got the right to make an offer. Now, if you just sitting there saying, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, but it's not like that. I know your name. I know when you ain't been here. When I don't see you in a while, what I say, Candace, where you been?
I'm waiting on you.
And people say, oh, how you keep up with who been here and wait? You better. You better.
All right. Anything else? If anybody else, any other questions for me? Go ahead.
I'm a super fan, by the way.
Thank you.
And I saw how you put your tour date. I do tour dates as well, but I've never put the tour date so far in advance for the whole year, and I thought I was sold out. So I'm asking myself, like, oh, what should I put? You know, the schedule and everything on sale for the whole year, or should I wait? Because I don't do it that far in advance. So why did you do that?
Because I have a brand that supports that. Everything I've done up until this point is all branding. So people who've been following me, who've never spent a dime, people who've been following me, who saw the live streams, people who following me because they saw somebody else, their cousin came down with Darius because the brand supported it, right? So if I didn't do any of that branding stuff, that free stuff I give you, no website to go to, no community to be a part of, and I said I'm going to do a dinner party, how successful would that really be? You see what I'm saying? I did a bunch of stuff on the front end, building foundation from a branding standpoint that's not associated with a product, right? If you come and you're a part of my community and you don't spend a dime, you feel just as comfortable as somebody who spent $1,000.
I love the I had to take my stuff out because I had my own.
That's just how it is, right? So if you've not done any of that, don't talk about how you're going to make money just yet.
Well, I'm not stuff still out. I just never put a whole year.
But see,
Yeah, but my brand supports that. My brand, I got over.
Does too.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Should I put the whole?
Yeah, if your brand supports it, then sure. If your brand can support it, then absolutely. But clearly, people asking for tickets for 2021. I hope the Lord don't let me check up out of here before the end, because that's a lot of money. You know what I mean? And to just talk about that for just 2 seconds. The tickets went on sale when tickets went on sale? I don't know. They went on sale somewhere around, here you go, October 18th, October 21st, and October 22nd.
Yeah. Let me tell you something about environments. Because I got to see that behind the scenes. I got to get text messages. And I got to see all the numbers.
Yeah.
When you're not hanging out with people whose everyday intention is to make millions, your mindset starts to slip. You understand what I'm saying? When I have conversations with my mentees, that's all we had. When I'm on the phone with Darius, that's all we have. You understand? And it's
money in the land.
It's money. It's money in the land, baby. One day I want to sleep late on a Saturday. Darius that text me said, "Food, Jeff Bezos, the $80 billion richest man." I said, "Shit, get up, girl. Get up. You can't lay here. Why is money just being in the land? You got to get up." But everybody has that same potential. And that's what you have to realize. She had a question, baby.
You mentioned something earlier about Periscope, you being able to just kind of cut up and act on Periscope. Can you talk a little bit about the brands? I know the challenge that I run into is that a lot of my work goes in deep. And so
What do you do?
Well, I'm a coach on Almost Fix My Life. So a lot of times I'm dealing with matters of the heart, spiritual stuff. And sometimes I don't always want to be on Facebook talking about things regarding, like women and molestation and healing and that type of thing. I don't know, I could be wrong. It's my conversation. I do it in my group. I go live in my group and we do it every week. But I haven't been doing it on Facebook. I don't know if I'm cutting myself off.
Yeah, no, I get you saying. So a really good person to follow is Pastor John Hanna.
Okay.
If you don't know him, follow him. Pastor John Hanna. He's a pastor out of Chicago. The reason I said follow Pastor John Hanna is because he has a church now, I think 20,000 members. They don't even have a real church. They meet up at the stadium or something. You know, they have this,
Okay.
you know. And if you ever see Pastor John Hannah in real ministry, he is astounding. He just preached. You can look this up. He preached at T.D. Jakes' Thanksgiving Day service. And you watch this. I was fixated. You know, just I couldn't move from watching him. He is one of the goofiest people you will ever meet, right? But when he's in ministry mode, he's super amazing, and he has a way to combine both that reaches so many people. So every time I go live, or you might want to go live, it's not always, you really got to be so super deep or deal with. I mean, sometimes it's just nice to hang out with the community in a very lighthearted way and just have conversation. I mean, we be on Periscope, and there's no agenda, there's no outline. Sometimes there's no title. I just hit go live. That's it.
Sometimes he just say, hey.
That's it. And then 3 hours later, after we done laughed and cried and cooked and went to Popeyes, you know, all that on Periscope, you're like, wow, what just happened? But again, that just warms the selling environment.
And then too, everybody's brand and everybody's delivery is different. But what you have to ask yourself is, if I don't extricate myself from just going live in a group and go live and talk about some of these difficult things in public, how are you going to really help the people that need to hear from you? See, the one thing I love about what we do is it's called pull marketing. See, when people are spamming you in your DMs and begging you to buy their tea because you look like you're a few pounds overweight, that's push marketing. They're being pushed. Pull marketing is, I'm going to go live. I'm going to give it a title that may interest you. Come in, let's talk about it, right? And you may find something that you like. And if you don't put yourself out there, even with the difficult conversations, and especially things like that historically have been taboo in our culture, then where are the people how are they gonna find you? Right. And then how you gonna help them?
Anybody else? Go ahead.
How y'all doing? My name's Syria. Shout out to Six Fig Spot Shake for inviting me. And guys, I'm blown away. I'm gonna follow my shit back here. The information
We're
y'all
not
have.
liable when you got that ticket. You said,
It's at your own risk. All at your own risk.
whatever happened in that room, we is not liability.
I ain't gonna lie like that. Y'all catch me. I really appreciate it. But so I'm a jeweler, and from my audience, it's like, oh my gosh, she's the first Black jeweler in the game, because I'm very detailed with customs. So I don't want to market myself. I don't know if I can market myself just to my sisterhood and build across to the community of Black women, because I feel like the market is not saturated with Black women as owners of the brand, but we're the buyers. And I feel like being on the inside of the game, I understand that jewelry is being marked up 10 times more than what it is. So should I take that as a strategy?
So this is what I would say. This is what I would do. I would analyze the brand, like whatever I'm doing, and pull out an attribute. How do I want people to feel when they hear or associate with the brand, whatever that might be? So for example, under Darius Cooks, it's all about inspiration. That's really the primary thing that I do. So I'm pulling out of everything I do. If you follow me on Periscope, you walk away sometimes inspired. When you see me cooking live, you go, oh, I can do that. So that's the underlying thing I do, right? And then I'm creating content around this idea of inspiration, not creating content around the actual product. I'm creating content around the attribute. I'm building community around the attribute. When people want to feel a certain way, because it's all about an emotional connection, then guess what? It makes it so much easier now for me to sell my product to you, or for you to buy my product. And there's an example I want to show you. This wasn't even planned, but on YouTube, there's a really great commercial. It's called, let me log out of my stuff. I didn't mean here trying to do my thing.
Really good. You gonna share it like that, sir?
So listen, YouTube.com, there is a video. It's from, I don't even want to tell you what it's from. I just want you to watch it first. It's only 30 seconds.
Y'all make sure y'all catch all them keystrokes.
Oh my, go ahead.
Can't see
Here it is.
nothing. Can't see no feet.
Yeah, this is the one. I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear it or not, but shoot, nope, there's no volume.
Hold on, no, Chanel, go back and click the button for him where it says.
Oh, I
show
got it. I
sound.
see that. I hit the volume.
You know it's hard to put it
It's a projector audio, high definition. It's on a projector audio.
On in the corner.
Oh, over here?
Oh, no, it ain't on there.
up. That's why we had needed the.
Ah, shoot. Okay, well, I can't show you. Sorry. Maybe later.
We're gonna look at it.
Yeah, maybe later. It's
What's the name of it?
it's a Dixie commercial. It's for paper plates, but they never mentioned paper plates one time in the whole video. And they mentioned, maybe I can curate. Maybe I can curate. I'll say this video a gazillion times. It's my favorite, one of my favorite videos. Hold on, let me play this. Okay, so what's happening is they're fixing plate, and you see multi-generational families, an Italian family with accents and first generations. And what's happening is the grandfather is talking about how he scored and got the grandmother. And they're talking about like what happened years ago and how they were able to do it. And he's telling stories and they're all sitting around laughing, having a good time. And the focus says focus on the family, not the dishes. And it's a commercial about Dixie Plate with the whole caption of be more here, right? And what I love about that is they focused on this whole, like anybody could associate with this because we've all been around the table, having a good time, playing cards, whatever, listening to music or laughing, multi-generational. And the whole idea is just to be more here, and the fact that Dixie Plate, help you be more here without ever even saying, go buy a Dixie Plate, right? So they focus on the attribute, which is being present, being in the moment, and they have this product that helps you do that. That's what Just Do It is all about with Nike, right? Whatever it is you want to do, Nike is saying, I want to be your partner to do that. So I'm not going to focus on how great the shoes are made and the material and the design and the intricacies. I'm just going to say, hey, you have something that you want to do, whether you want to be an athlete, be more athletic, do this, do that. Let me be the partner to help you do that. And my branding is focused on that particular attribute. So that's what I would say is the answer to your problem, right? Is I would create content around the attribute itself. Everything I do is about inspiration. Stories from my grandmother's kitchen, 30-minute keto, vegan but with soap. It's all about inspiration. And then you walk away going, I like this. So when I make an offer, you're like, oh shit, I'm in.
And I'm gonna add to that because me and my team had kind of the same conversation from a targeting perspective, right? Should I simply target a certain racial demographic or whatever? There's something called the tipping point. Malcolm Gladwell has a point. So when Oprah first started, the primary demographic that followed her was African-American women. You don't have to worry about crossover. Crossover will happen when you get big enough. You don't have to chase the crossover. If you build a good community, like Darius, it's gonna keep growing, it's gonna keep growing, it's gonna keep growing. Eventually, whoever wants to come will come and feel welcome. And if they don't want to come, they won't. Bottom line, so you gotta worry about chasing the white men. Benjamin, Andrew,
That's right.
and whoever comes bearing the white men. You service them. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you want to be the best at what you do, not necessarily for a certain demographic. Because what I've seen lately is as my brand has grown, the people in my brand get lighter and lighter and lighter, and y'all see it too, don't you?
Do you change your delivery? Do you
I
change
don't.
who you
I'm
are?
me.
Never.
I'm me. And so that means the crossover doesn't come at a cost to me. Because all I got is me and my authenticity and my realness, and that's what got me here. So the delivery is the same. They were catching it. Guess what? I learned it in corporate America. Because I stayed true to me, that's what got me the promotions. They got 1,000 tongues. They don't have 1,000 people that's gonna tell you like your TI is. So at the end of the day, I gotta stay true to me, and you do too. Anything that takes you out of character, it's not worth having. It's not.
Wow.
And what y'all think is you think that other people have more money, and that's not true. All people have money for what's important to them. If they want it, they will find the money for it. I don't care how much it is.
Anybody else?
Do y'all have y'all clappers out of y'all bag? Can y'all please make some noise? If y'all don't hear a multi-million-dollar presentation. Like, if you don't understand what you just saw, and if you don't go out and tag somebody on social media, hashtag #OneCon right now, you had to be in the room. And this is just, we just started. We're just starting. Go ahead,
say
baby.
one last
Say
thing.
as many things as you want.
So I'll end it on this. So there's two things that I do want to say that I didn't put here that will be directly associated with this. And Danielle mentioned it. I hear her mention it all the time. The thing that people ask me all the time is like, yo, how do you do it? How did you, what's the secret? And to me, there's two things. One is you have to solve problems. Two, you have to add value, right? If you're able to solve problems, you're able to add value, good. A really good example of that, and a really bad example of that is the Apple iPad, or the what you call this shit? Not the iTunes, the iPod, thank you. The iPod was a really good example of that, right? Because it solved a fundamental issue, which was, driving around with the CDs, having to change the CDs. Now, all of a sudden, I can carry 25,000 CDs or 25,000 songs in my pocket, right? That was a fundamental problem that the iPod solved. And then it helped add value to people who were super into music, people who want to be a part of a community, things like that, right? And Apple's really good about helping to sort of create community. With that being said, whenever you create content, go live, your goal should always be two things, right? Community is always the goal. Simply because people always have a place. Everybody wants to belong somewhere, right? There's a place people want to belong, and there is an identity everybody wants to express. You feel good when you do this. You feel great when you do this. That's why people go to Walmart versus going to Target, right? It helps them express their identity. So as long as you're able to do that successfully, give people a place to belong, I think we do a great job of that in the DI, and helping them express themselves in any sort of way. If you become the catalyst to that, success is in it. All right.
Last night when we came to the restaurant,
Yes.
I always am very observant of environment. Your staff is awesome. I told them I want to come and work for you guys.
It's intentional.
Yeah.
It's intentional.
The enthusiasm they have about the job, they're dancing on the sidelines along with the DJ. Yeah.
Well, they get paid.
It was a whole vibe. It was a awesome vibe.
And you have to admit,
Yeah, no. Yeah,
you know that.
yeah, that's the combination of like finding the right people, but it's also about creating culture, which is a whole other
That's a whole
masterclass.
nother
That's a whole nother situation because we just don't have. That's just, you just can't just make that happen. That has to be intentional behind what you do. If you want a servant to be happy about their job, you have to figure out what's going to negatively impact their job, and that is if the food doesn't come out in the right time. If the food doesn't come out in the right time, what systems control the food not coming out? So we have a system for prep. We have a system for inventory. We have a system for what gets cooked first. If you order catfish, the catfish was seasoned yesterday, so it already has. So there's a system for everything that we do, and that's to make that happen. That was a year-long project to get it to where it needs to be.
If any of you guys have, and Darius, he doesn't give himself enough credit. He's methodical. He is a consummate professional. He is, y'all think I'm a workaholic? I can't keep up with Darius. I wish I could find my kids so I could even try. But I can't keep up with Darius. He stays at it. And he's excellent motivation for me to grow up and just be great. And I love him tremendously.
Any final questions before I see?
He don't want to hear that. Look.
Any final questions?
You gotta show us a little something that ConvertKit.
Y'all want to see ConvertKit? Y'all care about ConvertKit? All right.
But why do you like it? Because I'm sure you use other.
Yeah, when I show you what you're able to do, you'll be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but listen, don't get it twisted, because if you're not willing to go out there and write the content for any of these, hit response, it doesn't matter, entrepreneur, it doesn't matter. If you're not willing to put the content into the system doesn't just do right.
All right, this is my ConvertKit. Right now, I have, not stated.
Never.
So I've got 206,000 subscribers that are in my ConvertKit. It needs to be cleaned up though. Into my ConvertKit. So a couple things I like about ConvertKit. So if you were to go to my website, and let's say you were to go to dariuscooks.tv, and I'm on this Wi-Fi connection. I'm sorry. Okay, so you go to dariuscooks.tv, right here, never miss an update, right here on the side, and you go and you put your email address right into this situation right over here. What ends up happening is it'll come here into a landing page and form, right? And that landing page and form is called, never miss an update probably. It's called, never miss an update. Never miss an update. So what ends up happening is that people go right into there. So if I wanted to figure out or do a special for people who are coming to my website because they're looking for a recipe, then that means I can put them in a specific group or target them, or I can throw up an automation behind this never miss an update, and automations are right up here at the top. So an automation I could throw in could be something like, if you come to the website and you put in your email address, the first email you'll get is going to be, hey, welcome to the website. I see you joined on the website, right? Then 2 days later, I can follow up with, did you have any questions? Did you get the recipe you were looking for? Oh, did you know we had a Facebook group that you can join and become a part of? And then they can join the Facebook group, right? Then I can go a step further and I can say, thank you so much for being a part of the community. You've been here for 30 days. It's a 30% coupon to my new cookbook that's coming out, right? So eventually it's all gonna be about sales. Would I offer a sale from the very beginning? Probably not, because you just came on board, you know what I mean? But I also have to be very consistent about sending out particular emails to that group. But that can all be done automatically, sort of behind the scenes, right? Under automations and through sequences. Another thing you can do, and I was telling you guys this earlier, just give you an example, is under this content. So I have keto content, I have vegan content, I got all types of content. I know what you're looking for when you come to my website. So let's say you went and looked for this keto spicy chicken lasagna, which looks amazing, by the way, right? And it's really good. If you were to go in here and you were to sign up, I can throw a form in here. I didn't do it in this one. Okay, I should be a little bit more careful with that. But I can throw a form. I clicked on it, but I don't know what's going on with this connection. I can throw a form in here, and that form could be, keto form. And my sole purpose could be to move people to my keto Facebook group. The reason is because at some point, am I not going to have a keto cookbook or a product related to keto? So shouldn't I start building that audience and that customer base now by making the selling environment easier? So I could say, hey, I see that, and I'll put the form in here. So it should be somewhere down here. You can't really see this. I don't know what's going on with this connection, but I'll put the form somewhere in here, right? And then you can sign up to get, if you want this recipe like this in your inbox or whatever. Oh, look at that. There's a pop-up. Huh? Come on now. Come on. There's a pop-up. Where that pop-up take you? ShopDariusCooks.com to buy a cookbook. But anyway, I can throw a form in here and then I can say, hey, I see you're interested in keto recipes. Come join the keto Facebook group. All of us love keto. Here are the rules. Why don't you make something and then post a photo in the group? I could put that in email and be very inviting. I'm not asking you to give me your credit card information. I'm not asking you to buy anything. All I'm doing is starting to get you into the mix of the community and making you feel very, very comfortable. So I can do that through ConvertKit as well. I can send out my I don't know what's going on with this here computer. This thing has got a mind of its own, okay?
Because you hitting old Apple buttons over there.
Is that what I'm trying to do? Okay. Well, anyway, from here, you could do, you could do so much out of ConvertKit. One other thing I love to do, so what I said, and this is a really key one. So think about this. This is worth the price of admission right here, I'm going to tell you, okay? When you have a Facebook group, you can ask questions in the Facebook group before they join, right? You can ask 3 questions, whatever you want to ask. Why you here? How much you weigh? Whatever, right? One of the questions I always ask, if you're in my group, you've seen this, is it says, I want to keep in contact with you. why don't you, what's your email address? People are like, sure, I'll give it to you. No problem. Before I add you to my Facebook group, I run a script called Email Extractor. It's on Google Chrome. It's called Email Extractor. And if you have like 4 or 5 people, it's fine. But if I do a live, I got 2,000 people trying to join, okay? I can't go through trying to find 2,000. So Email Extractor will pull out all the email addresses. I can simply click on the import function right here on ConvertKit where it says under subscribers. On the right-hand side, it'll say import or add subscribers. Right here. So I can click on add subscribers. I'm gonna add my subscriber, I'm gonna give them a tag. So I'm putting them in a silo. So the tag I would do is, I think it says keto but with soul or something on here, 30-minute keto right here. So I got 44,000 people who are in the group, who are in my email list. I got 100,000 on Facebook, but I got 44, which means I did a good job. I got 60,000 out there somewhere. You see what I'm saying? So you go back to Facebook and you be like in your group, I'm working on a new keto recipe. I'm gonna email it to y'all. What's your email address? You see what I'm saying? To add on to that. So you do something like that, right? Okay, but here's what you do. So you pull the email addresses out, you import them, and you give them a tag. So I go over here, I'm gonna click on add subscribers. I'm gonna import my CSV because I'm gonna get it from Email Extractor. And then I'm gonna put a tag associated with whatever the group is that I'm gonna be tagging, right? I put them in, I do an automation so that anytime a subscriber gets tagged to a specific tag, they automatically get an email sequence. The email says, hey, you just joined my Facebook group. Here's a code for 30% off the product, right? You send that email out, you wake up a couple $1,000 just from that. Just from that alone, okay? So that's a good one. So that's a good little piece of funnel that you can have for absolutely free. Okay, so so I mean, I could spend hours and hours and hours going through ConvertKit, but as you can see, it's very easy to silo people. I have all of my Dining with Darius Cooks people somewhere in here. Recipes, offers, above 701 clients, goodbye sequence, mastermind, right here, 1,512. So if anybody got tickets for Dining with Darius Cooks next year? Okay, so you in here. Y'all in this. So if I wanted to email you or sequence of emails, it's already here. And ConvertKit works directly with your Shopify store. So anytime a person buys a particular product on Shopify, they can go into a sequence, an automation, or a tag just like that. So you can silo people way ahead of time. So that's why I like ConvertKit, because ConvertKit is like the bomb. It's expensive as shit, but it's the bomb, okay?
Everything is.
Anybody else before I close this sermon down? Yes, ma'am.
So do you do all of your marketing yourself, like maintain all your businesses, handle your IT? I mean, you do all that yourself? Wow.
I don't. I outsource almost 100. All I do is my marketing and my clients. Everybody's different. I tell Darius all the time, he has that capacity. For me and my client, as for me and mine, we will outsource. Darius has that technical ability. Y'all sitting over there fighting with websites and losing money.
Well, to be fair, no, let's be fair. I don't build my own websites.
No, but you know, I don't even have as much.
Yeah, I don't build my. I will go. I use Theme Forest and get a theme. I'm going to change it all over again, and I hire somebody from Pakistan or India, something like that, to install it and do all the configuration. So that kind of stuff I don't do myself, and I'm really big on, like, I don't even have. I used to do my own photos. Used to do my own videos. I don't do any of that anymore. So I haven't. It costs, but I've allocated resources. So I have a full-time photographer. All those new photos y'all seeing that don't like iPhone photos no more. She's doing all that. All those videos, the guys been with me for like 2 years. So I outsource. And because it's easier for me to create content and star in it and let somebody else make it look pretty and
When
edit
I
it.
first met Darius, he did all that. He had cameras.
Yeah.
He did it all.
I used to, but
I never been able to.
So there's a threshold.
Right, no, I agree, because I want to say my first social media platform was Periscope.
Mm-hmm.
And I started following you, and I followed you, and where you were there then,
It's
and where
different,
you are now, is like, oh my God, I mean, I've actually watched that.
The evolution.
The evolution.
Yeah, it's intentional. I mean, I had to get better. And if I want to compete with people who are watching Food Network and watching the cooking channel, I've got to be just as good. So my videos have to be that kind of quality. My content has to be that kind of quality. My website has to look the way it looks for a particular reason, because I need to attract those same people who are like, why would I go to Food Network when Darius has everything right? Yep.
There's something we've been talking about for the last couple of days in this room, and it's called the law of diminishing returns. And then what that is that the longer you do something, the better you get at it. And most people want to go jump out there and instantly be great. And I don't believe such a situation exists. I think everybody has experienced an evolution of sort on social media just by staying there. My videos don't look like they look 2 years ago, 3 years ago. My products don't look like they look 2 years ago, 3 years ago. There's an evolution that occurs just because you stay in the game and you're consistent. You learn more. You get an opportunity to move faster. You think better. You see better. You understand the whole game more. It's just by being there and always seeking out strategy and always being deliberate. Darius, ain't nothing you do an accident at all, ever.
It looked like it. Put it up.
It does. It has looked like.
Yeah, but I mean, but do you? Yeah, but tell me, why did the macaroni and cheese come out at the same time? Have you ever noticed that at the end of the lot, everything come out at the same time? Why? How is that accidental? You know what I mean? Like, everything is timed to be the.
But in a way, Darius, if they think it's an accident, you really doing a good job.
Yeah, no, it's a because I
don't want to be.
Because again, I want to humanize the brand. I want it to look like, you know, when I first get on, like when you first start cooking, don't tell me you got all your onions chopped right and your teaspoon of salt is measured out. You don't. You know what I'm saying? You're going through the cabinets too. Like, where the hell did I put that garlic powder? Now I know it was up here somewhere. So I'm in many ways I'm simulating that same experience. Plus it helps buy me time, because if I know, you know, the meatloaf is gonna take 45 minutes, I gotta fill up that space with something. So it looks, some of it looks accidental, but it's all intentional. All of it. All right. Last call, questions? Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm happy. I never heard of you before in my life.
I ain't nobody.
Because everybody kept saying Darius, I said,
Yeah, it's fine.
But I'm very grateful to meet you, and your spirit and your humbleness and just the reality of you. Like, you're tangible. You and Mrs. Danielle are tangible. Yeah. So it's a blessing to be in the room. So I'm excited.
Good. Thank you.
Y'all give it up for Darius.